Okay. Any response to why Overwatch 2 ranking system is being changed to the Overwatch 1 SR system? Feels unrewarding to many other players. Okay. Changes are coming. We're sharing details in a blog very soon, but we aren't planning to revert to Overwatch 1 model. The new system has good goals, but the implementation needs work, and it has to be adapted based on player feedback, like yours. That's what we'll be talking about. Okay. I mean, that doesn't really tell us a whole lot, but it does say that they're working on something. They're cooking something up. There's a cycle here. Okay, I've been a streamer, I've been a content creator for Overwatch for a long time. In the grand scheme of things, not that long, but for Overwatch, a good amount of time. And I can tell you with almost absolute certainty that something decently large sized is coming whenever Blizzard stops talking for a while. Blizzard stopped talking for a while. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I mean, you can see them in chat sometimes. You'll see community managers, you can see some devs, they pop up in chat at the beginning of the season. Whenever something big launches, everybody comes out, says hi, pops their head out, looks for feedback, sees what everyone's talking about, whatever it is. But whenever they're working on something, they put their head underground, they disappear. And they've been gone for a few weeks. I haven't seen many. I saw like Gavin popped in once or twice. I saw a few people pop in every once in a while. Craig comes in and says hi, but recently they've been very quiet. Typically when they're very, very quiet, it means they're working on something. My theory with that tweet is there's going to be something with competitive. They're going to talk about competitive somewhat. The hog thing is probably taking a lot of their time because they only just started talking about the hog stuff like a month and a half ago. So they're probably working on the hog thing. They're probably trying to figure that out as fast as possible. And they're probably trying to get it done before season 3 because they said that they wanted to get it around the end of season 2. So, I mean, to be honest with you, they could launch it at season 3. I could actually see them launching it at season 3 as a part of the season 3 changes, because there is no hero change. Like if Hog got like technically like small reworked at the start of season 3, they could kind of like spin that as like a hero change for season 3. But shit, that actually makes a lot of sense. I can't believe I just talked myself into that. Fuck. Okay, so maybe Hog thing would come around season 3. Even though they said season 2, end of January-ish. At least that's what it was implied. Fuck. That probably makes more sense then. Oh, well. But, they're definitely cooking, though. Whenever they get very quiet, it's when they're cooking. Were the hog changes that got leaked real? No, dude, there's no shot those things were real. Dude, those changes were a joke. Sample method is the prime for 3 months. I appreciate it. Thank you, dude. An electric shot with the 10 tier 1 gifted subbies. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the 10 gifties. Checking just smoke for electric shot with the 10 gifties. I appreciate it. Jav, if you gotta get sub, make sure you say thank you. Genji doesn't get a small buff, you'll cry. I don't think Genji's getting any buffs. Maybe a small one maybe ammo. That's it. Yeah, I mean, if they were smart, Sojourn needs to officially just get nuked. They just need to go back to the drawing board on Sojourn. So, like, if you actually wanted to make Sojourn like a playable character for lower ranks and not just completely destructive in high rank, you'd take her what is her right click do? 9 damage per bullet and make it like 7. Give her an extra like 15 bullets of ammo. Revert the accuracy change, or at least like make it like somewhat more accurate, and then remove headshot on the railgun. Good to go. Okay, these are the 2 tier 1 gifties. Appreciate it. Thank you, man. Yeah, it just give her more uptime and she wouldn't be blasting people, but I don't think that'd be a very drastic change. I don't think that would happen. The secondary fires for starting such finishing burst. Yeah, that's kind of like, but that's the thing though, is like, do they want like almost like a Soldier 76 clone? Probably not, you know. So That's the only thing I think keeps them back from doing something like that, even though I do think it's probably a better call. It's crazy that Sojourn has more bullets than Soldier. Why? Soldier's a hit scan, does 19 damage per pellet. Sojourn is a projectile that does like 9 per pellet. Soldier's whole kit revolves around him hitting shots and then finishing targets off with a helix maybe, or doing burst damage. Sojourn's whole kit is about poking until you have railgun and then one-shotting someone. So, I don't know about that. Widow aren't OP, then Ash is OP. And go Energy and Tracer OP. Well, the Widow OP thing is... the other part is just you being dramatic, to be honest with you. But the Sojourn thing makes sense because Sojourn's been dominating since the game came out. But Widow is going to be another part of what people are going to talk about. Widow's going to be really, really the next thing on the chopping block. The reason why Widow isn't thought of right now... I mean, Widow is thought of right now, but Sojourn's just the bigger one. Everyone complains about Sojourn more than anything else, but if and when Sojourn leaves, any meta that doesn't have a shield meta is going to be Widow's easy pickings, and even then, it's still going to be annoying. Like, the amount of Circuit Royale games and Junkertown games you lose because their Widow player here is better than yours, or you just don't have a Widow player, like, off of spawn, is just ridiculous. Like, that's not fun gameplay, that's not engaging gameplay. That's basically you lost at the start screen, and that's not fun. You know, there's not many games where you lose at the start screen like that. The only other thing I could say that you lose at the start screen is, like, they have an Overwatch League tank player and you have some diamond player. Like, yeah, you lost at the start screen, dude. You know that. But that's much more rare and niche. AC Alex in the Prime for 23 months. Appreciate it. Thank you, man. Monkey can solve it? Oh, Monkey can solve it, really. So Monkey's going to solve it on Junkertown. Monkey's going to solve it on Circuit Royale. Monkey's going to solve it on Havana. We've been playing this game for 6 years. The just go dive doesn't work on every map. Yes, you're going to make it more difficult for them. Are you even going to make it there is the big problem. Are you even going to make it to them? So what we learned in Overwatch 1 was that when you nerfed Widow's HP to 175 from 200, because Widow was a big problem during double sniper, even with double shield, we learned that putting her HP to 175 made her squishier and easier to kill, and it also made it so Wrecking Ball shit on Widow. So if they had a really good Widow, you just went Wrecking Ball and you just basically just turned them off. Like, that was it. That was the end of the Widow. Like, you just went Wrecking Ball and you chased them around the map. But it was 2 tank format, so you had a Wrecking Ball and like a Sigma, because the Sigma could operate on its own, or Hog could operate on its own. But guys, let's be honest, the rental car business is boring. Traveler, I think you got lost. Anyways, we learned that there was, like, you know, certain things other characters could do to fight against the Widow. You can't just go ball now to beat Widow. One, she just survives the pile drive and left click spam. By the time, like, if a Mercy comes over or a Kiriko comes over, you're not gonna kill her. A Suzu saves the burst, and Mercy healing can sometimes be enough, so make it so that when you hit the pile drive and they're coming straight down, you go. You used to be able to burst the Widow down. She has enough HP now, plus if someone comes to help, that she will survive the fall and then start to be able to, like, 80-80 strafe or grapple or whatever, so you can no longer kill her by yourself. It's not possible. Too many other factors have now calculated in. So now there isn't actually a way to deal with Widow on those maps other than your own Widow. Realistically. Or you just somehow the rest of her team is a lot worse and you shit on them and the Widow doesn't have enough time to get value. But again, low percentage. But but this is stuff we've already solved, like, in the past. So the reason why it was fine to go back to 200 in Overwatch 2, or at least it was originally thought, was with the Giga Tank, you can make it there and you'll be fine. And the one-shots wasn't actually what was the scariest. It was more, you wanted consistent damage. But now with Sojourn, you get the consistent damage already. And then you have another slot that nobody else has that consistent of damage other than Ashe, maybe, that pairs well with the Mercy Pocket Ashe, or Mercy Pocket Sojourn. So a lot of times picking Widow actually is really advantageous because you're still doing enough damage as a team. But then you also get the one-shot potential of picking people off. Not once, but twice. You get the Sojourn and the Widow. So, will Hanzo just take Widow's place if she gets nerfed? No, Hanzo needs multiple things in his kit to even survive to Widow. He needs Storm Arrow and Sonic Arrow. He needs other abilities that beef him up to even have the potential to be somewhat on the same level as Widow. If you think about that. Widow has what? A Venom Mine and a Grapple. Hanzo has Leap, Wall Climb, Sonic Arrow, and Storm Arrow. Realistically, Widow's ult in a shift button in a lot of ways. And then if you're talking Dragon's not that great, but if you're talking about overall kits, it's still a way better kit overall than Hanzo. But why is Hanzo much worse than Widow? Because you're talking hit scan versus projectile. You have to travel arrows across the map. You have to predict where they're going to be. Yeah, sure, people say like, oh, like you can just spam chokes, which is true. You can definitely spam chokes on Hanzo. But if you're playing a map like Junkertown, you're not really standing in chokes very often. You're more of in the open. Hanzo can't just, quote, spam a choke in the open because there is no choke. So there's a consistency factor there. And it's the biggest difference between hit scan and projectile. So when people say Widow is or when Hanzo will just take Widow's spot, if you're talking double sniper, it's not technically like wrong, but in the overall grand scheme of things, it is wrong. They just have very different niches. They playstyle are very different. The way you interact with them is very different. And we actually learned this in Overwatch 1 with Ashe. Ashe actually with Mercy Pocket used to be able to one-shot headshot you. But then we learned as a community that that was a bad idea because you didn't have just a Widow. You had a Widow and an Ashe that could one-shot you. So you had two characters on the enemy team looking to one-tap you. What about removing hit scan? Oh, so you just want the game to die? Okay, cool. Come on, dude. It's an FPS game. Remove hit scan? What are you smoking some crack? Real talk. The reason why Widow wasn't the most oppressive in the beginning of Overwatch 1 is because there was ways to get to her and ways to deal with her, and people hadn't learned yet how to interact in the 5v5 format, and other characters were stronger and had more consistency. But Sojourn is still the #1 problem because you have Widow's one-shot and mobility. Widow at least doesn't have mobility. So I think Widow can still be tuned. She's still a big problem. Whatever nerfs happen, but I think that it's still too early to tell on Widow. Still too early. I don't know why they give her 200 HP back. Well, going to the 5v5 format, it was probably seen that she needed a little bit more survivability because she didn't have an off tank to come peel for her, or flankers would come for her, you know, but apparently Widow doesn't have to be close enough that they can really make it there, you know? So, I don't know. That's my big problem with Overwatch, is sometimes you load into the games and you lose at the start screen just because they have really good hit scan players on a hit scan map and you don't. And that's just GG. And that's ass. That's my only big problem. Other than Sojourn. And Hog. But Hog's solved by Orisa, and that's a problem that's getting actively solved, so I'm not gonna complain. I want one of the new supports to be super fast healing like Moira or BAP. You can put up huge numbers in heals and DPS. Oh, so you just want some giga buffed, I can do everything in the game by myself character. Oh, that sounds like a lot of fun. You know, single player games do exist, right? And you can do that. This dude is an ass? Yeah, of course I'm gonna be an ass, dude.
Looking extra sex today.
Thanks, Leah. Appreciate the prime 2 months. Of course I'm gonna be an ass, dude. you suggest that you should be able to do absolutely everything in the game on your own and just be the most dominant force of all time because it would be fun for you, of course you're gonna get a stupid response. Am I supposed to cater to you and go, no, that's okay, that's a good idea? No, fuck that. Bring Brig patch 1.0 back. You know, even Brig didn't even do that much healing. It was more of her over armor that was the biggest problem. I mean, she did do a lot of healing though, but... Oh, make that player an ass? Oh, okay, my bad. Fair enough. My apologies. Winky Face is the fresh tier 1. Appreciate it. Alley Cat, they give a fresh tier 1 as well. Shit. I want aimbot implemented into my game client alone at all times. Oh man. No, you're good, dude. You're good. I misread it. Brig 1.0 would be even better. Dude, I don't think people remember how bad Brig 1.0 was. Like, you could bash and stun someone through shield. Like, there was a meta at one point in GM called Bash Shatter, where your Rhine and your Brig would walk up to the enemy Rhine who was standing there with shield, and their Rhine went, well, see you on the other side. And she would bash you, you'd get stunned and then shattered. And it was unblockable. The only thing that could technically block it is a Zarya would have to bubble you at the exact time that their Brig went to bash you to stop the stun. That was the only thing in the whole game that could stop the combo. Brig had, what was it, 800 shield, 800 health shield, 250 health slash armor, gave over armor with her pack. She gave 75 over armor, so Tracer would be 225 HP. Oh, it was 600. It was 600. My bad. 800, 600. My bad. But yeah, that was honestly one of the craziest shits I've ever seen to this day. It was unblockable. And the worst part was people would get so mad at the Rhine players. They'd be like, dude, why are you getting shattered? And be like, what do you want me to do? And they're like, just don't get bashed. I'm like, what do you mean don't get bashed? Their Brig just walks up to me and does it. And it's just unblockable. It was unblockable. That was it. It was bad. It was really, really bad. That was... Whew. And the stun was much longer too than it was at the end of Overwatch 1. The stun was long enough in Overwatch 1 that you could stun. Oh, and it did 50 damage. So you bashed, stunned them for 50 damage, left clicked to do more. I don't remember how much. No, actually, was the bash was 50? I don't remember how much the bash was. I don't think it was 50 actually. Was it 50? I don't remember. No, guy thinks the fresh 2-1. Appreciate it. But you could one-shot Tracer. So, oh, so left click was 30. So bash was 50. Left click was 30, and then you whip shot to do 150 damage combo, and you could one tap a Tracer before they could move. So the bash, left click, shift combo, the stun was long enough the Tracer could not respond. She just were dead. If you got stunned by a Brig on Tracer, you just died no matter what. It was over. It was like Dante on Tracer versus a silver player on Brig. As long as the Brig player knew the combo and hit the bash, you'd win. You could beat anybody. That was part of... That part of it was fun. Did you ever play the Tracer part of that, or only the Brig part of that? I know the answer to the question. I was just trying to see what they would say. Don't forget infinite rally armor. Oh, yes! Oh my god, infinite rally armor. Okay, so... in Overwatch 1, the way armor stacked with shields was it stacked under. So you see on Zen, in the bottom left, I have health. There's like 50 health and then 150 shield. Armor now would go on top of the shield, but in Overwatch 1, in the beginning, it went under shield. So you could get a Zenyatta with the 100 armor underneath, and then, wait, was it 100 or 150? You could get up to 425 HP though. I don't remember what it was. Was it 150? I think it was 150. But yeah, basically, NYXL at one point just started playing Zen with Brig, and Jonak would sit in the back at 425 HP and just do this, and just delete people from the from Narnia, and there was nothing you could do about him. It was impossible to kill him. He had 425 HP / armor, and the best part is armor still had the damage resistance. So let's say you played a Tracer. You're playing on Tracer, you'd work down his 150 shield, and then to get through armor's even harder to get through. So ready? Let me show you. You've never seen this distinction.
I've never called myself a
okay? Because a lot of people actually don't really think about this. So here, Hog has no armor, right? That's about what I do for damage for versus Hog, right? No armor. Is there any? No. Who's the next closest tank with about the same health? Ryan doesn't have... Actually, does D.Va? Yeah, D.Va does. This is how much it does to D.Va. It's a good chunk less. It's a good chunk less. Actually, does D.Va have 700 now? No, she has 650. So not even quite as much. Not even quite as much. Actually, let's see if I can come up with a better comparison. Does Doomfist have armor? No, he doesn't. Doomfist has armor. Oh, Arvis's is 550. I'm just trying to see if I can find a perfect one-to-one comparison to show you guys. I don't think I can. Point is, though, damage when you're versus armor is much lower. Wrecking Ball?
Continue to kindle my love for Al.
He doesn't have that much armor, though. Okay, but it's still armor. Alright, I'm in. Okay, so Hog. Just about. Say what? 200 damage? Wrecking Ball? That's a good amount less. I have to actually show it to you with their own POVs, because otherwise the bar, it's a little bit hard to tell. Show headshot, you'll see it more. Will headshot see it more? You can actually see it in the first half. In the second half, it's a little bit harder. So, Wrecking Ball doesn't have enough armor. Only shot 20 bullets. Let's shoot 20 bullets for each. Ready? Okay. And the remaining 20 bullets. So. Anyways, though, armor makes a big difference. And so, especially against Tracer, because in Overwatch 1, armor behaves slightly differently. And pellet shots, for example, your D.Va shotguns, your Roadhog pellets. Actually, Roadhog pellets, I think, ended up getting buffs, though it actually passed the threshold. Tracer was a big one. Anyone who did really small amounts of damage was a lot harder to kill them when they had armor. So Zen having armor plus health, armor pack, over health, plus shield was insane. It was the most broken thing you've ever seen. I'm sure there's old screenshots that exist out there somewhere. Oh, thank you, Chompy. This is a classic right here. An actual classic photo. Something that'll go down in history for Overwatch. This was the scariest fucking shit you've ever seen. And the best part is, this part was permanent. It was permanent. It didn't decay. So you just had a little floaty tank in the background. Perma-armored. Just rolling. Oh yeah, it's shield regen too. So if you were poking him from range, there was no support passive in Overwatch 1. So if you poked a support, they needed to get healing. Whether they self-healed, whether that was a mega, health pack, getting healed from another support, whatever. Did not apply to Zen because Zen had shield, so his shield would regen. So let's say you poked Zen's shields out, he just sits behind cover for 2 seconds, then pops back out, has his whole shield back, and still has all the armor to work with. That was truly when Overwatch was just like off the rails power creep. Like things had gotten so insane. To be honest with you, I still think a lot of DPS characters are still kind of like low-key buffed from that era, damage number wise, and that's why it's really hard to, you know, like tanks need to be super giga buffed so they don't get one tapped. DPS kind of like roll games. They're constantly hitting their shots, but if not, then it just kind of feels bad. Like they don't like it feels like you don't have control in your game a lot of times. And then support players basically run around playing hide and go seek because tanks can one-shot them and DPS can one-shot them, you know? So it's kind of nuts. The whole thing is kind of nuts. I feel like we did power creep pretty hard at this point, and it's like, I wonder if a global damage nerf to both tanks and DPS would actually be very beneficial to the game. Like I'd be down for Rhine Swing to go back to 75. I'd be down for Orisa damage to come down. Hog, Diva, Joker Queen I actually think is somewhat okay, but might, if we brought everybody down, come down a little bit. Simic come down a little bit. Winston I think is fine. Ball I think is probably fine. Maybe actually could use a small health nerf because everyone else does less damage. Even though Ball's not good right now, like one small Ball buff would just make him OP. Zarya could get a small nerf, Ashe could get a small nerf, Reaper could get a small nerf, Bastion could get a small nerf, Cassidy could get a small nerf. Oh, sorry, not Cassidy. Sojourn, Cass maybe. You know, like Soldier I think is okay. Like just, you know what I mean? Like if you brought everybody down a little bit and did less damage, I wonder if it would be better.